Long before the iron roads cut across the red earth and long before the tongues of men forgot the songs of the wind, there was a village cradled between two rivers. It was called Iruwa, a place where shadows were said to whisper secrets when the moon was full and the drums sang deep into the night. The people of Iruwa believed every shadow was the echo of a soul, not merely a dark mark on the ground but the silent twin of a person's spirit. In this village was born a girl named Nia, whose name meant purpose. From her first breath, people said her shadow was strange. It was longer than the other children's, even when the sun was high. It moved with her, yes, but sometimes, just sometimes, villagers swore they saw it twitch when she stood still, as if it were alive with its own thoughts. "Mark my words," the old women muttered as they pounded yam by the fire, "that child's shadow carries the weight of ancestors." Nia grew up with a quiet strength. She was neither the loudest nor the boldest, but there was something about her eyes, deep as midnight pools, that made even the elders pause. She listened to the stories told under the baobab tree, where griots recited the history of heroes and spirits. She loved the tale of Empha the Brave, who wrestled the wind to save her people, and the tragic ballad of Kofi the drummer, whose beat summoned rain but cost him his life. But unlike other children who dreamed of heroes, Nia often gazed at her shadow and wondered, "What is my shadow's story? Does it dream of freedom?" Seasons passed in Iruwa, and Nia's shadow grew ever stranger. When she danced at the harvest festival, her feet beat the earth, but the shadow's feet lagged a heartbeat behind. When she laughed with her friends at the riverbank, her shadow did not ripple with the water like the others, it stretched toward the forest instead, pointing always eastward, where the old trees whispered of forgotten things. The elders watched in silence. They knew stories of shadows that wandered and of bargains made under blood moons. But wisdom, they said, was like the kola nut, bitter at first, sweet only after chewing. One Harmattan evening, as the wind swept red dust across the village, a stranger came walking down the path from the east. He wore a cloak of cowhide stitched with cowrie shells that rattled softly as he walked. His staff was carved with faces, human and animal, and his eyes glowed like fireflies caught in a calabash. The strangest thing of all? He cast no shadow. The villagers murmured in fear. "Is he a man? Or a spirit?" they whispered. Children hid behind their mothers' wrappers, peeking with wide eyes. Dogs howled and refused to cross his path. The stranger smiled, showing teeth white as river stones. "I am Azo, the traveler," he said, his voice like dry leaves rustling. "I come seeking what is mine and what is not." The elders gathered beneath the baobab tree to greet him, as custom demanded. They poured libation on the earth and asked his purpose. "I seek," Azo said, "the girl whose shadow does not obey." The name of Nia spread quickly from the elders' lips to the traveler's ears. "Bring her to me," Azo said, leaning on his carved staff. "For her shadow sings louder than drums in the night." But the villagers hesitated. In Iruwa, shadows were sacred, they were the umbilical cord between the living and the unseen. To meddle with a shadow was to meddle with the soul itself. The elders spoke in low tones, their voices heavy with proverb. "When you see a man walking without a shadow, know that he walks with spirits at his side. Yet curiosity is a bird with restless wings." The whispers reached Nia as she fetched water by the river. Her friends pulled at her arms, saying, "Do not go, Nia. He is not of the living. His shadow is swallowed by night." But Nia, though afraid, felt a strange pull in her chest, the same pull that made her shadow twitch and stretch toward the east. That evening, when the sun hung low and painted the land in gold, Nia went to the baobab tree. Azo waited there, his cowrie shells clinking softly as the wind stirred his cloak. "Nia," he said, voice smooth as palm wine. "Child of purpose. Do you know the weight of the shadow you carry?" Nia lowered her gaze. "It is only a shadow." Azo laughed, and his laughter was not like men's laughter. It was hollow, echoing, as though 10 voices laughed at once. "Only a shadow? Only the mirror of your spirit? Only the half that walks in silence?" "No," Azo whispered. "Your shadow is more than darkness. It is your past, your present, your yet to come. It carries your fears and your dreams. It carries what you do not say aloud." Nia trembled. "Why do you want it?" "I trade," Azo said simply. Your shadow for freedom. Your shadow for gifts. I will give you what no other in this village has, power. Songs will rise in your name, Nia of no shadow. The rivers will part for you. The wind will bow at your feet. And what will become of my shadow? Nia asked. Azo smiled. It will follow me east. That night, the moon climbed full and round, heavy like a calabash brimming with milk. Its pale light washed the red earth of Irua until even the termite mounds gleamed like silver. The elders stayed in their huts, murmuring prayers to ward off evil. The mothers hushed their children and covered the cooking fires with clay pots so no light would call wandering spirits. But out beyond the village, beneath the old baobab, the drums spoke. Dum-dum, dum-dum, dum-dum. The beat rose from unseen hands, no drummer in sight, yet the rhythm throbbed through the ground, steady as a heartbeat. Nia stood barefoot in the dust, her breath quick as the river in flood season. Before her stood Azo, cowrie shells clinking on his cloak, eyes lit with firefly glow. He drew a circle in the earth with his carved staff, muttering words older than the trees. Shadow of girl. Blood of moon. Trade be bound. One lost, one gained. Nia swallowed hard. Will it hurt? Azo tilted his head, smile thin as a blade. Not at first. The air thickened. The wind that had slept in the grass awoke and began to howl. From the east, where the forests whispered, came faint voices, the voices of shadows. They rustled like leaves, hissed like rain on thatch. One by one, dark shapes emerged from the circle's edge, elongated figures with hollow eyes, limbs too thin, mouths stitched with silence. They were shadows without bodies, the forgotten halves of those who had traded before. Who are they? Nia whispered. Those who walked this path, Azo said. They are neither cursed nor blessed. They are simply elsewhere. The shadows gathered behind Azo, their movements jerky, unnatural. They watched Nia, heads cocked, as if hungry for her. Azo lifted his staff, and the cowrie shells on his cloak began to sing. Not with music, but with whispers, countless whispers of bargains made, promises broken, names long buried. He began to chant in a tongue Nia did not know. Odo am I, Odo am I. Leave the skin, leave the bone. Follow me to the forest unknown. The ground trembled. Nia felt her shadow stir beneath her feet, writhing, twisting, pulling away like a fish on a line. It tugged at her heels, frantic, desperate. Wait, Nia cried. If I give this, what will I become? Azo's eyes gleamed. You will be light itself. No burden, no fear. Free. The moment came swift as lightning. A gust of wind tore through the circle, and Nia's shadow ripped from the earth with a cry no ear could hear, yet every bone could feel. It rose, dark and trembling, forming the shape of a girl identical to her, only hollow-eyed and silent. The shadow reached toward Nia, fingers outstretched, pleading, but Azo's staff struck the earth, and chains of moonlight bound it. The shadow collapsed, shivering. Azo bent low, whispering to it. Come, child of night. Walk with me. And the shadow obeyed. As the shadow vanished into the trees behind Azo, Nia felt lighter. Too light. The weight of sorrow, of fear, of doubt gone. She laughed, and her laugh rang like bells. She ran her hands through the air and felt power hum at her fingertips, the wind bowed, the dust swirled in patterns around her feet. See, Azo murmured. You are free. But when she looked down, the ground beneath her was bare. No twin, no echo, no proof she belonged to earth. And for the first time, she felt the hollow where her shadow had been. As Azo vanished into the eastern forest, the whispers of the shadows followed. The drums ceased. The night fell still. Behind her, the village remained silent. But from the riverbank came a ripple, soft and mocking, as though water itself had begun to speak. One cannot live without what one leaves behind.